Putin and Russia are blaming Europe for the peace deal talks falling through. Europe are blaming Russia for the peace talks falling through. But Putin has now said, which we'll show you in a minute, he does not want a war with Russia, which is different to what is being put out there. But he has said, if Europe wants a war, if they start a war, they will be ready. Whether that is the case or not, they've been through a lot for the last 4 years. But let's have a look at this.
Мы не собираемся воевать с Европой, я уже об этом 100 раз сказал. Но если Европа вдруг захочет с нами воевать и начнет, мы готовы прямо сейчас. Вот здесь не может быть никаких сомнений. Только вопрос в чем? Если Европа вдруг начнет с нами войну, мне кажется, что очень быстро, это же не Украина. С Украиной мы там действуем хирургическим способом, аккуратненько, так, чтобы, понятно, да, это не война в прямом современном смысле этого слова. Если Европа вдруг захочет начать с нами войну и начнет ее, то очень может быстро произойти ситуация, при которой нам не с кем будет договариваться.
So there you go. He is saying, and he has said it 100 times, he does not want a war with Europe. He has a war with the Ukraine. They're working surgically, carefully, trying to take territory that they say belongs to them. And they want Zelensky out, and they don't want any NATO troops within Europe. That's part of the peace deal that he's requesting. We'll go over that in a minute. But if Europe wants to start a war, they will be ready, and it will happen very quickly. What is he doing in the background that we don't know? Because they have taken hundreds of thousands, if not, I think they're in the millions of casualties now and fatalities. Same when it comes to kit, equipment, vehicles. They've used thousands and thousands upon drones, missiles, rockets, everything to attack and try and take back territory from Ukraine. So what has he got in the background to say that he is ready to now take on Europe and possibly NATO? That's very interesting to me, because they're already, a large armed forces with a lot of kit and equipment and personnel, but they've gone through a lot and it's cost them a lot of money this war. We're nearly in the week coming up to the 4-year mark, 4-year anniversary of the Ukraine and Russia war. He wants that territory from Ukraine. He doesn't want troops, NATO troops, anywhere near Ukraine or the western border, eastern border, sorry. And he doesn't want Ukraine to become part of NATO. And from what I've heard as well, if it's true, he wants a limit on how large Ukraine armed forces can be, which I think is a bit unfair. If he can have an armed forces as large as he wants, why can't Ukraine and other nations? But I think he could be correct. Have Europe just been getting in the way this whole time? Is Trump the guy to basically bring around peace between Ukraine and Russia? Most probably. Trump doesn't take any crap. He's pretty good at negotiating and ending wars. We've seen that in the past. He also, compared to all the other European leaders, he has a good relationship with Putin. Take away whatever you want from that, but he does have a good relationship with Putin. So he is able to talk to Putin in a peaceful way and try and negotiate. There's two sort of powerful leaders who are very, very headstrong. So neither of them will sort of be able to take crap from each other, but they will be able to negotiate a deal. I think the issue is, from what I've read as well, is the territory, especially sort of, down in the southern and eastern parts of Ukraine. I think that's a non-negotiable for Putin. I think the non-negotiable as well is Ukraine joining NATO and the size of Ukraine's armed forces. So that's where the sticky points are going to be. That's where I think they're going to have issues. But I believe, if it's all correct online, Zelensky is ready to accept a peace deal. A 19-20 point peace deal now. If you watch back that video as well, you can go and watch the full interview. He is putting a lot of it on Europe, not Ukraine, not United States. he's putting a lot of the issues between Europe and Russia, between the war, between the peace talks, on Europe. So very, very interesting. Obviously, you get a different side from Europe. We obviously see different to them to what they say, but he has openly come out and said he does not want a war with Europe. He does not want to go past Ukraine. He wants Ukraine and Ukraine only. If he's telling the truth, who actually knows? But he has come out openly said that on TV, live TV. But he is ready, and the question is Europe? As Europe, as NATO, yes. But the issue is, are we ready, say if Europe did start a war, which I don't think they would, are we ready to deal with the aftermath, the destruction, the spending, the amount of personnel, kit and equipment, food, vehicles, drones, aircraft that you're going to have to throw at this? Because I think from what I get from what Putin is saying, if war does start, he is ready to just go all at it. It's not about just sending troops in and trying to take territory, trying to take power stations out. As he says, surgically, carefully, being very tactical in his movements. I think it would just be a case of, we've got everything ready. They've most probably brought pre-coordinated targets ready to go, and it'd just be a massive assault back to Europe, which we're then going to have to defend and then retaliate and counter-attack. I think he would just go for quick mass destruction straight from the start, if a war ever did start between Europe and Russia. Obviously, I don't think he wants too much destruction in Ukraine, because he wants the territory back. He says that belongs to obviously the old former Soviet Union, and that belongs to the current Russia. So very, very interesting. Is the UK, is Europe ready for a war with Russia? We've got our own stuff going on at the minute from within that people are not happy with, that we're struggling with, cost of living crisis, etc., borders. It's a situation nobody wants. No one wants a European and Russia war. No way. No way. We want to stay well away from that. But what we do want is an end to the Ukraine and Russia war. The amount of casualties and fatalities and the amount of destruction now is just too much. So fingers crossed, Trump can do what he can do, and he can bring an end to this. We're looking extremely close. We're coming up to the 4-year mark of this war in February 2026. So fingers crossed we can come to an end to this. But Russia is ready. Whether he is or not, I think he'd just go for pure mass destruction. I think he would just, as much as what he could, just throw at major cities within Europe and just go for complete destruction, and then wait for the retaliation and counterattack. I don't think, that's my thoughts anyway. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this, so please do comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.